All right, Morris, and everyone, peace and love. And I want to introduce myself real quick. I am Antatu Ta'el. I'm a More Than North Gate. And I want to once again give clarity on some things that might not be clear to some because we got so many coming into the movement that Noble Drew Ali has started. And before I begin, as I always do, I want to always not just speak on things that I've taken in and from reading and studying, but I want to bring in everything within the cosmos because knowledge exists throughout the cosmic mind. So we want to bring that in so that it dwells within us. As I speak to you, let it come from the truth and not just what I feel and not what I think. All right? So I want to go to the east and call upon our Lord Enki. I want to go to the west and call upon our Pharaoh Akhenaten. To the north, our Noble Drew Ali. To the south, our Noble Charles Mosley Bey. Our Mother Tiamat, Ninti from creation, Ruth the Moabite mother, my grandmothers, the serpent family, the dragon family, the jinn, everyone who has come together to wake the DNA up so we can free ourselves. It says in the law, Psalms 82:6, John 10:34 and 36. What does it say? Is it not written in the law that ye are gods? You need to start acting like one. Moors, the answer has been in front of your face the whole time. You've just been looking everywhere else instead of what you need. You need to slow down, stop, be still, and allow the universe to step in and shake the heck out of you. But it's a spiritual awakening. It's something that happens within. And it's not always fireworks. It's not always that aha moment. Sometimes it's just so gradual where one moment you just get it. You're not stuck. And it's so sad. We've got grand sheiks and sheiks out there carrying that title with the authority that Noble Drew Ali has set up through the Moorish Science Temple to free the nation. And yet there are those, and they know who they are. They are those who keep that knowledge to themselves and they profit from it. They've made secret arrangements and agreements with the Europeans to withhold your state from you. No more should be suffering. Too many times have I read to you different, my goodness, so much information about you are Aboriginal, indigenous to the Americas, to Northwest of Mexico, Northwest Africa. And many still don't get it. It's got to sink in. You got to kind of like, let me think for a minute. Aboriginal, indigenous. Okay, I've been called black and Negro all my life. Why is it not sinking in? Why is it so many are not getting it? You got to know the power of indoctrination. You have to know the power of the mind. They don't need guns. They don't need weapons. They don't need chains. If they got your mind, they got you. And it works through belief as well. That's why they took away your divine creed and gave you Jesus. It made it a crime for you to do anything else but Jesus. There was a reason behind that. But the problem is Jesus ain't real. But if someone chooses to follow that because it gives them some sort of salvation, okay, that's fine, as long as it stands within the law. You could believe in a rock. If that rock is going to keep you on track, believe in that rock. But you still got to know your ancient beginnings. You still got to know where you come from. You still got to know your ancestral lineage. You still got to know the truth. So you could follow that rock all day. But that is irrelevant to law and truth. And just like Charles Mosley Bay said, that goes for Allah, Jesus, Jehovah, and all, Yahweh, all of them. Because Ham and Cush did not utter those names. They did not. And no Grand Sheik or Sheik going to say that they did. Because if you do, you're lying. It was never about the gods. Believe it or not, it was never about the gods. Why do you think I thank Lord Enki? I will say that name forever. Because things Moors don't know. And if you knew this, your life would be changed. It'd be different. I'm going to read to you from the Circle 7. Page 59. The end of time and the fulfilling of the prophecies. Line 1. The last prophet in these days is Noble Drew Ali, who is prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem men from their sinful ways and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. Now, I want to make sure that there are Moors that get this. Because for some reason, on my page, and I got a lot of people on my page, I've got people who are nationalized and people who are not nationalized. I have Europeans and everybody who are on my friends list. So I'm not going to waste energy putting down anyone. That's not necessary. As a noble, as a Moor of the North Gate, and a descendant of Ham and Cush, I ain't got to sweat nothing. Royalty actually exists within the DNA. It could be traced back to a lineage. That's why I always talk about Pharaoh Akhenaten. Because when you have ties to the house of Pharaoh, you don't need to blink for nothing. People may be stealing from you, yes, but you are not poor. If someone has to steal from you, they're poor. If they got to commit fraud in order to have what they want, they're poor. So it's actually turned around. Because those you call elite that's doing it in fraud, they can't come out to the surface and out in front and open front and center and just be themselves and say, yeah, this is how it is. They can't do that. You know why they can't do that? Because they're committing fraud and they're stealing from you. And they're charlatans and they're criminals. They can never stand in the light. They have to be in the shadows. They have to be in darkness. Because the truth, once it stares them in the face, they can't say anything. That's why you must stand in law and truth. Folks, when I say you got work to do, you got work to do. Paperwork is fine. Paperwork is somewhat of a necessity in order to conduct commerce and do certain things. However, you need knowledge. You need knowledge. Leave your attitude and your anger and everything else outside. Once you step in front of the elders and the cosmos and knowledge and truth and the law, you don't go by your emotions. You speak the truth. And you stand in that. Do not waver from the law. What is law? Divine law, natural law, jurisprudence, the zodiac, common law, common sense. All law. Stand in it. And don't deviate from it. If you do that, ain't nobody gonna mess with you. The cosmos will speak to you when you stand in law and truth. If you're out of sync in your body, the cosmos will assist you and guide you and protect you and give you what you need to sustain yourself on this planet. You do not need guns. You need knowledge. With the knowledge, you can wake up the DNA and return back to the way it was back in Lemuria, Atlantis, Kemet, to the days of Ham and Cush, where they used thought. Don't need no weapons, creating all that karmic debt. Don't think like the Europeans. I know many times I'll say act like a Jew, but I say that as a metaphor, because the Jews are not going to play with what they consider theirs. Right or wrong, they're going to let you know you're not going to mess with us. When I say the Moors need to learn from that, they need to have the same mindset about nationality and about Noble Drew Ali and what he taught. Because Noble Drew Ali taught law. He wasn't stuck in no dogma. Charles Mosley Bay gave you law. He gave you the zodiac. He was the one faithful adept that studied under Noble Drew Ali in the adept chamber and gave you law and truth and the zodiac, which the temples that Noble Drew Ali has set up, the ones in it running today, reject. So, Moors, we have work to do, don't we? As a nation, we have work to do. And if you're going to wait on a temple, you will grow old and get sick and be gone. Because there's a different agenda going on. If the Moor Science Temple today, and I had this discussion with Noble Drew Ali, if in fact the temple today was there to serve the Moors, you would not be suffering. You know that? Not one of y'all will get locked up. You know that? Do you know that? It couldn't happen. So they have their own agenda, don't they? Turn to the Circle 7. Chapter 47. Line 9 and line 10. According to all true divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were in awe of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. Now that's coming from Circle 7. Now, here's the Europeans backing that up. Georgia House Resolution 1203, I read this all the time. Starting on line 19. Whereas on January 8th, 1886, Noble Drew Ali was born in the state of North Carolina and became the first patriarch of his Moorish American people. And in 1912 was anointed El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali by the head of Egypt in the holy city of Mecca to return to the United States as the last prophet and founding father of the newly risen nation of Moorish Americans. On January 15th, 1865, slavery was abolished in the United States with the congressional ratification of the 13th Amendment. And the Moorish Americans, through self-determination, look that up, self-determination, look that up, self-determination, look that up, are unfolding as a pure and clean nation. They are who their forefathers were yesterday. Georgia House Resolution 1203. Representative Thomas of the 56th District in Atlanta, Georgia. So, they know something. Let's go to that 13th Amendment that they just mentioned. The Congressional Globe, dated Saturday, April 9th, 1864. The official proceedings of Congress, published by John C. Rise, Washington, D.C. The 38th Congress, first session. All 20 sections of the original 13th Amendment, not that new stuff that they got today, talking about only 2 sections. They're lying. What does Section 12 say? The traffic in slaves with Africa is hereby forever prohibited on pain of death and the forfeiture of all the rights and property of persons engaged therein. and the descendants of Africans shall not be citizens. Huh. Amazing. Shall not be citizens. So how y'all citizens? How can you be included in a census report from the United States Corporation when you're not part of that? And we know a U.S. citizen is a corporation. It's a fiction. It's an all caps fiction. It's not considered the natural person. Corporations tax other corporations. You cannot tax the natural person. But many of you are paying taxes, aren't you? Think, Moors. Come on. You're not putting your thinking cap on. Turn to your Zodiac Constitution. Noble Charles Mosby Bey gave the Moors the Zodiac Constitution because Noble Drew Ali could not finish his work. There were dirty Moors and Europeans that had already assassinated Noble Drew Ali. Don't let them off the hook for that. You gained this knowledge from Noble Drew Ali. No one else. No more, especially in the Moor Science Tip of America, should honor any man or any woman above Noble Drew Ali. If you Moors don't start taking this thing seriously, you're going to find that you're going to be included with what's going on with them Europeans and them dirty Moors. You're going to go down with them. They murdered Noble Drew Ali for this knowledge. You stand firm on that. You don't just let that go. And somebody praising some other person calling them a prophet. Let me read it again. Whereas on January 8th, 1886, Noble Drew Ali was born in the state of North Carolina, became the first patriarch of his Moorish American peoples, and in 1912 was anointed El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali by the head of Egypt in the holy city of Mecca to return to the United States as the last prophet and founding father of the newly risen nation of Moorish Americans. Did that say someone else? Do I need to mention names? After Noble Drew Ali, there is none. Yeshua, Akhenaten, Noble Drew Ali, that's it. He was the last one. You're not going to continue doing this. Anyone can speak on this knowledge. Anyone can study. Anyone can be endowed with the cosmos and share knowledge. But Noble Drew Ali is the last prophet. The last. If you're confused on that, if you give your allegiance to someone else, that's on you. But you cannot say you love Noble Drew Ali and you so-called all into Noble Drew Ali, and yet you praising somebody else who did not give you this knowledge of nationality and take you out of mental and physical slavery. Because when he gave you this knowledge of nationality, he not only freed your mind, he freed your physical body from being persecuted. They are Moors confused. You will never hear me say something about somebody else and whatever. When it comes to nationality, Noble Drew Ali is second to none. He's the only one that came forth with this knowledge and lost his life doing it. And you're going to put somebody else ahead of Noble Drew Ali? Are you crazy? Like I said, many of y'all out there, you know who you are. You're liars and you're frauds. Check yourself. In the Zodiac Constitution, Article 2, the Zodiac Constitution birthright, the Moorish Americans, the Bays and the Els. Since the 12 jurymen of the 50 Union States Magna Carta document of white supremacy, the 9 judges of their Supreme Court were founded upon our Moorish Zodiac 12 signs, mathematical constitution, The lawmakers have no jurisdiction over the free Moors, the Bays and the L's, in the inherited land of the Moorish nation, namely U.S.A. Canada, Central and South America. The Moorish American nationality and their surnames Bay and L are the inherited birthrights without a legal due process of the lawmakers of the Union Society U.S.A. What our Moorish forefathers were, we are today without a doubt or contradiction, namely Moorish. Article 3, tax and military exemption for Moorish Americans, the Bays and the L's. The Moors, referred to as Negroes, definitely can never become members and citizens of the Union Society of the 48 States. Therefore, they cannot be forced or drafted into the Union, U.S.A. Army or military service to fight for the Magna Carta Code of the white supremacy against themselves. The lawmakers of the 48 States Union order cannot force the Moors, the Bays and the L's, to pay taxes, because taxation without representation is a supreme violation of the Moorish Zodiac Constitution, birthrights of Islam. So basically, what it's saying, not only the Zodiac Constitution in Georgia House Resolution 1203 and the original 13th Amendment and the Circle 7, Chapter 47, is basically saying that you are your own nation. You need to start acting like one. You don't need guns. You need knowledge. The Europeans operate on fear and fraud. You awaken what has been given to you, you will find that you really don't need much at all but just the knowledge and to use it wisely. That's it. Why are y'all stressing out there? And many of them grand sheiks and sheiks, if it's not already happening, I will guarantee you it's going to be hush-hush. Many of them will exit out, and many of them are going to start feeling so sick in their bodies because Saturn and Pluto, you must understand these things. Saturn and Pluto is taking things out, but it's slow. It's a process. It could take years, but during that duration, things will come in line with law and truth. Either way. And the Europeans know this. They're just dragging it on, but it is what it is. You cannot be a Freemason or a Mason and ignore the ancient knowledge. You cannot say, I'll use the ancient knowledge for my benefit and to live large, but I don't want to know the truth. I don't want to know the law part of it. I don't want to get involved in all that. I just want to benefit from it. It don't work that way. The cosmos don't work that way. You must stand in law and truth. Folks, a lot of things are happening, but you got to do things the right way. You got to. I'm going to read to you from the Hermetica. Page 79, under the Zodiac and Destiny. It says, when the Creator had created this beautifully ordered universe, he wanted to order the world also. So he sent down man, a mortal creature, made in the image of an immortal being, to be an embellishment of the divine body of the cosmos. It is man's function to complete the work of Atum. He was made to view the universe with awe and wonder, and to come to know its maker. At first, the heavenly gods complained. At first, the heavenly gods complained, saying, you are being rash. Now they're speaking to the Creator. That's why you never confuse the gods with the Creator. You are being rash in creating humanity. They see with inquisitive eyes and hear what they have no right to hear. They reach out with audacious hands. They will dig up the roots of plants and investigate the properties of stones. They will dissect the lower animals and one another also. They will seek to discover how it is that they are alive, and what is hidden within. They will cut down the woods of their native land and sail across the sea to see what lies there. They will dig mines and search the uttermost depths of the earth. All this might be bearable, but they will do so much more. They will press on to explore the world above, seeking by observation to discover the laws that govern the movements of the heavens. Atum replied, I will build the zodiac, a secret mechanism in the stars, linked to unerring and inevitable fate. The lives of men from birth to final destruction shall be controlled by the hidden workings of this mechanism. And when the mechanism began to work, the Kenai goddess Destiny, tablets of destiny, clocks of destiny. And when the mechanism began to work, the Kenai goddess Destiny supervised and checked this movement. Through this mechanism, destiny and necessity are cemented together. Destiny sows the seed. Necessity compels the results. In the wake of destiny and necessity comes order, the interweaving of events in time. Atum implants each human soul in flesh by means of the gods who circle in heaven. It is man's lot to live his life according to the fate determined for him by these circling celestial powers, and then to pass away and be resolved into the elements. There are some whose name will live on through the memorials of their mighty handiwork, but the names of the many will fade into darkness. Pay attention. Few can escape their fate or guard against the terrible influence of the zodiac. Huh? Whoa, back up. Few can escape their fate or guard against the terrible influence of the zodiac. So what does that mean by few can escape? Meaning that you mean there's a possibility to kind of learn from this and come off the wheel of rebirth? Is that what it's saying? I thought it was impossible. Let me read on. For the stars are instruments of destiny, which bring all things to pass in the world of men. If, however, the rational part of a man's soul is illuminated by a single ray of Atum's light, the workings of these gods is as nothing, for all the gods are powerless before the supreme light. Really? So even with the zodiac being in place and the law of the zodiac and the law of nature and all that, it's giving you a way out. But you got to be on point. You got to stand in law and truth. You can't be playing with this. I got to read that part again. If, however, the rational part of a man's soul is illuminated by a single ray of Atum's light, the workings of these gods is as nothing, for all the gods are powerless before the supreme light. But such men are few. Most are led and driven by the gods, which govern earthly life, using our bodies as instruments of destiny. To my way of thinking, however, it is our duty not to simply acquiesce in our human state, but through tense and contemplation of divine things, to detach ourselves from our merely mortal nature. Now, Moors, you're going to have to go back. Go back to when you first nationalized, when you first got this knowledge. Now, many went different directions. But once you really grasp the gist of what this all means, when it talks about your lineage, your birthright, the ancestors, how we got started, Ham and Kush, all of that. Once you get this, you're going to find that your job is actually very simple. Noble Drew Ali gave the estates back to the Moors, and they took him out for that. So you got to start looking at them grand sheiks and sheiks that's holding your estates in that trust. You got to look at that and ask yourself, why are you being thrown on the street? Why are you losing your home? Why are you broke? Why? When people are stealing from you and you know it. What, you will simply acquiesce? If somebody took your wallet and you just got your so-called paycheck and somebody just walked up and took it, you going to stand there and just watch them do that? Well, Your estate is vast. And Noble Ali said, you Moors are just plain rich. He said that. So what don't you get? Stop playing games with people. And stop being misled. Noble Ali is the last prophet. There is no other after him. If people are talking that, if people are saying that, don't follow them. If there are people telling you to follow this person because they're now a prophet, or they're prophet this and prophet that, they're nothing. They didn't give you back your nationality. They did not give you back your nationality. Noble Ali did. It doesn't make him special. It just means he did the work. Just like Yeshua did the work. Just like Pharaoh Akhenaten did the work. They earned through deeds and doing what is right and standing in the law. That's what makes them a prophet. Noble Ali, like it said, was the last prophet. If you're confused and you're still saying this person is this and that person is that and they're all that in a bag of chips, something's not connecting. There's no time for play. And we done ran out of time. It's way past midnight. And I want to say again, don't follow them Europeans, because what they do out of fear and ignorance. Because they're ignoring the law. They're stuck. They're allowing their greed and their jealousy and envy and everything else consume them, which is making them more sick. In addition to them trying to hide the sun and block out the sun with all these chemtrails every day. You can never get a full 24 hours of a clear day today. You can't. I dare anyone, anywhere on the planet, to look up in the sky and tell me, when you see blue skies, how long it's going to take before it gets cloudy and start raining. And you'll see the planes spraying the air. You'll see it. So what are they so afraid of? Just let nature be. What is it they know that the masses don't know? Ask yourself them questions. They got protests going on about being isolated and homebound and all that. They ain't seen nothing yet. They have not seen anything yet. And it's going to start at the top and trickle down. And when that happens, the masses who are stuck in ignorance and their beliefs and their dogma and whatever they got going on, just like it was in Europe back in the 1300s when that plague swept through Europe and took out, it decimated Europe. And it's tied to Yaqub. It's tied to the Europeans. They ain't blocking that sun just to be doing it. There's a reason behind that. Moors get busy, stand in law and truth, and do what is right, and act as nobles at all times. I cannot say this enough. You don't carry the title nobility to Bay in the L and get to act like a nut. Conduct yourself as if Charles Mosley Bay and Noble Ali and Pharaoh Akhenaten and Lord Inca is standing right there next to you. You conduct yourself as nobility at all times to show you warrant that title. It's not just a birthright. I earned that title. when you speak from law and truth and you conduct yourselves accordingly, as Noble Drew Ali taught, love, truth, peace, and justice, that man knew what he was talking about. Joshua said the same thing. Pharaoh Akhenaten said the same thing. Apply those principles to your daily life and live by it. You're going to need it. Otherwise, you're going to be they're going to pass right over you. You will not be protected unless you stand in these principles. There is a spirit of death that's going to sweep the planet. You must understand the conjunction that took place on January 12th between Saturn and Pluto. Pluto is the underworld. Pluto is what's hidden. Pluto is the one that sits right next door to Saturn and says, okay, you've made judgment. You are the Lord. You passed judgment. You have sentenced them. Now give them to me, those souls who did not pass judgment, who do not stand in law. Because the time has come. We're in a new age, the age of knowing. The truth and the law must stand. And Pluto is sitting there, and it's a powerhouse. And it's slow moving. Y'all gonna figure this out. I'm telling you, you're gonna figure this out. Peace and love to you. Until next time.